There's this story about Michelle Obama starting a podcast. And I kind of want to go through this, Michelle Obama's podcast. And her and her brother, they started a podcast. They look like twins. If you want to... No, I'm actually not being sarcastic. Yeah, well, if she Rob, what is this, Rob?
Where's her
this
brother?
is the announcement of the podcast.
Okay, play the clip. Maybe this will help out a little bit with subscribership. Go ahead and play the clip.
Hey, TikTok. It's Michelle Obama, and I'm here with my big brother, Craig.
Hey, everybody.
We're here because we're excited to announce the launch of our new podcast called
this. We can stop it right there.
With Michelle.
So they start a podcast, and... so their podcast, Rob, if you can actually do me a favor and actually go to the YouTube channel. Go to the YouTube channel of Michelle Obama's new podcast, okay? So if you just go to YouTube and type in and go to their podcast, the IMO, Michelle Obama, there you go. Okay, watch this, folks. They've uploaded so far 4 clips, okay? They've uploaded so far 4 clips. Can you go to the channel right there? So zoom in a little bit. 4 videos have been uploaded. They've done 1 episode, and they have 17,700 subscribers. Oh. Let me kind of give you some perspective on what that means, Rob. Rob, can you go to one of the episodes? Go to that one right there, okay? So 47,000 views is what it's got. Let's go to the comment section to see what the comments are saying. Man. Have they left it open or no?
Yeah.
Okay, zoom in a little bit, Rob. Remember when this guy drowned his chef in a lover's... Okay, wow, that's...
Okay.
Came here for comments. Didn't watch the video. I paid IRS fine for 3 years in a row because your husband said I should pay for health care that I couldn't afford or else. They're going to have to disable comments next episode.
There it is.
The internet is a great gauge for how influential someone is. The old guard media is absolutely dead. I worked my balls off to get here. I don't know what that is about. Joan Rivers was right.
Hello.
Barely 16,000 views. Okay, so now here's what I want to do.
Jeez.
Rob, could you go and do me a favor and go to all her social media profiles to count how many followers she has? So go on X, go on Instagram. This is the best way to do it. There you go. One by one. Let's just put up all of them. So watch this. Instagram. I want you to count this, folks. Instagram is how many followers? 57 million followers. Yes. Okay. And you see the link to their podcast right there. Go to the next one, Facebook. How many followers on Facebook? What's the number, Rob?
19 million.
19 million is Facebook, okay? Can you go to TikTok or X? Let's see where they're at with X. How many followers on X?
21.
22 million followers on X. And where is she at with TikTok? Because she uploaded a video there as well. And you go to TikTok and see what that is. On TikTok, it is, do you see a channel? Do you see an account?
This is the podcast channel.
No, I want her account. Okay, so that account is 164,000. All right, so I added the numbers here. You got roughly 100 million followers. Imagine having 100 million followers and you sold your book and it was record-breaking a few years ago when she sold her book. I don't know what the number was. How many copies did Michelle Obama's book sell? I don't know what the number is, but I heard it was record-breaking. Okay, 17 million copies was sold worldwide in 2018. That's when they were really, their reputation, 17 million copies. Everybody's like, oh my God, they made so much money. I don't know how much money was made. I think the number was like 36 million. How much did she get paid for it, for the books? I don't know. $65 million was paid in advance for the book. $65 million was paid in advance for the book. And then now you do a podcast with 100 million followers that you promote everywhere, and you only have 17,000 subscribers. Let's do some basic math here. Okay, can you go to Ronaldo's account on Instagram? Go to Ronaldo's account on Instagram. Ronaldo's account on Instagram. Check this out. So if you go to Ronaldo's account on Instagram, how many followers does he have? 650 million followers. Jeez. He decides to start a YouTube channel and he promotes it, okay? Go to his YouTube channel, Rob. We'll do the math here as well. If you go to his YouTube channel, no, just go to his YouTube channel, Rob. Okay, there you go. That's not it, Rob. Go to his YouTube channel. You're going to a sponsor. Just go to his YouTube channel, type in Ronaldo, okay? He decides to start a YouTube channel. We're gonna do some math here together, okay? And go solve for, what is it?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
go to, okay, Rob, just,
Sorry, I spelled it wrong. That's why.
okay. And then go to the channel. How many subs?
74.1 million.
So 74. So let's kind of look at this. So some people may say, well, that's not fair because she has 57 million Instagram followers and he has 650 million. Let's do percentage, okay? So if I do percentage out of 650 million followers, what percentage did he get? Divided by 74.1.
13%?
13%. So 13% of Ronaldo's followers went to YouTube to subscribe. 17,000 subscribers divided by 58 million. 17,000 subscribers divided by 57 million followers. Do you know what percentage went? Do you guys really want to know? 0.003% went to want to subscribe to her channel. Did you understand what number I just said right now? To say they've lost their influence and their sizzle of what the Obamas used to be would be an understatement. You get 17,000 subs. Vinny's Valuetainment Comedy just crossed 300,000 subs. Unusual Suspect just crossed 100,000 subs. 17,000 subs. And by the way, I got more thoughts on this. I'll pause. I'll come to you guys from comments. I got 3 things I want to say that I feel this is the reason why she's doing it. Vinny, your thoughts on this?
Well, I saw a bunch of bits and pieces of it, and it's nothing. There. First of all, nobody knows who your brother is, and actually, nobody cares. Like, if you're going to go something like that, have a personality, have something bigger, because you know what she was doing? She's just spilling the beans on her family secrets. She's taking about how her husband, Barry, got on her nerves, how he doesn't get people. You know, it turns out Michelle, you know, he had problems with her, problems. It's just her just airing out all their problems. She's like, yeah, he goes and golfs with the boys. He comes back. I'm with the girls. I want to be left alone. It's like she's not saying anything. And the fact that, I mean, I do give her respect for whoever's running the actual channel, leaving the comments on, which is insane. I don't know if they're going to keep it on for the rest of it. But you nailed it, Pat. That whole Obama, Michelle, like this election really let everybody know how tired they are of this whole, you're just supposed to be a blind loyalist just because Barack Obama was the first black president and Michelle Obama's his wife. What did she do? What has Michelle Obama done? Where, by the way, you want to talk about a fall from grace? She was selling out arenas. Do you understand what an arena is? People are going there, and for what? To hear her say what? What has she done? Has she cured anything? Has anything happened? No, you were just the first lady. And I'm not disrespecting women. I'm just saying, what have you done to get this allure and people that are so behind you? I think it's great that it's actually being exposed, that nobody wants to hear it, and people are tired, because if this is her way, like Gavin Newsom, by the way, Gavin, if you see him with his hands on his podcast, he cannot stand sitting in one place because his body shakes because of his hand movements. But if this is her way of trying to get into the presidential race in 2028, it's not good. It's a wrap. It's over.
Michelle Obama, what a fall from grace. Just a few short years ago, she was the first lady. Now she's the black call her daddy. This is what's happening right now in 2025. She was the president's wife, a speculative candidate for 2020 and 2024. Vinny's going to revive her 2028 chances. I don't think she's ever going to run. I think it's all hype. And now she's a podcaster. Wow. Welcome to our world, Michelle Obama.
Well, let me show this,
It ain't
Rob.
that easy.
If you can pull up the X, and then I'll go to Tom. And I'm going to pose the question to see where Tom's going to go with this. So here's a couple things that everybody needs to know about. I tweeted this yesterday. Strange time, and Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom start a podcast within 2 weeks of each other. Accidental or intentional? Not sure. I give the breakdown of our followers and how many people subscribe. Barack Obama started a podcast in 2021, lasted 8 episodes before Spotify and them didn't renew the deal. Michelle and Barack had previously launched a podcast called the Michelle Obama Podcast in 2020, lasted 9 episodes. So far, Newsom's podcast outperformed, and I actually like what Newsom is doing. To be fair with him, his podcast, he had Steve Bannon on, he had Charlie Kirk on, he's having a lot of different people on. Stay on that tweet, Rod, if you can go back. So the conclusion is this. What's the reason for them doing this? 1, podcasting is hard, and she can't do it. 2, Obama's lost their influence. 3, they're fighting to be the Rogan of the left. Everyone's trying to be the Rogan of the left. 4, Michelle and Newsom are running for president in 2028, or they're just doing it to have fun. Which one do you think it is, Tom?
I think I thought this last night. I think it's number one and number two. They've lost their influence, and podcasting is hard. You know, you need the 10,000 to be an expert in a lot of things. We've all heard that. It's not a saying, it's a proof and it's a formula of what it takes you to become an expert in something. And podcasting is really hard, and they've lost their influence. I think it's 1 and 2, mostly 2.
Can I tell you what else is going on? Let me give you speculation, okay? Again, let me tell you, I watched Newsom's podcast with Kirk. I actually think Newsom has what it takes to do a podcast. I think so too. I think he's got what it takes to do a podcast. I think a part about him going back and forth and debate and pushing, you want to watch on what he has to say, right? Michelle, the podcast they make, there's 2 different types of podcasts. There's a type of podcast that you just want to sit there and talk to the audience one-on-one. And it works for some people. But eventually it's kind of like, look, man, is there anybody else do you want to interview and talk to other people? I kind of want to hear what other people have to say, right? So you watch, well, Rogan's interviewing other people. You're sitting there, and then you see panel. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? You can say whatever you want about The View. Guess what everybody talks about every week? The View. Why? Because here's what she said, here's what he said, here's what she said. So they're bringing, even though you can't stand what they stand for, they bring, what do you call it, Tulsian. They'll bring and have the fight with Stephen A. They'll bring and put the people on there, Junior and all these guys, and have the conversations with them. Of course, you don't agree with it. Michelle is doing a podcast from a standpoint of, you guys know who I am. We're going to do good because I'm Michelle Obama. But let me tell you what I think she's trying to do. And again, pure speculation, folks. I may be fully wrong here. I think she's taking a page out of Jada Pinkett's playbook. Because I think they're getting ready to announce that something's going on in the marriage. And I think this is their way of doing it in a very subtle way. Because if you're taking shots at him slowly, you're taking shots, you're taking shots, you're taking shots. They're going in games in different ways. I'm not sure if there's been an entanglement or not, but I think there may be a possibility of a news coming here soon that could actually get her podcast to blow up. And you know what could get her podcast to blow up? If she announces that they're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
That day, they'll get a few 100,000 subs. And then that's where the controversy will come. So I don't know if she's trying to do the Jada thing and finding the next thing to, what was her podcast that she was doing? It was called Red Table or something like that. And then Will came on because you know who's going to be a guest very soon. Obama's going to be a guest very soon.
That's when they're going to get, like you said, 50,000.
Again, I don't know if that's the case or not. All I'm saying is I'm getting the vibes that Newsom's doing it because he wants to run for president. Michelle is doing it for other reasons to try to control the narrative. I just don't know if it's landed so far.
And you know why I think that's because if you think about it, just break it down because that's a very good point. She didn't go to Jimmy Carter's funeral. Okay, disrespect. You're the first lady. Barack goes. She's on vacation, mind you, by herself. You don't go to the inauguration. Your husband goes. You're not there. She's on another vacation. Okay. Then Barack Obama is going to basketball games by himself. They're not in the spotlight together. You're supposed to be going to these places with your wife. And if you go back into history and you look at the interview with Tucker Carlson with Larry Sinclair, and if you believe it, which I believe it, affidavit, lie detector test pass, the guy's been hooking up, writing letters, Rob, what was it, to his college sweetheart, saying that he fantasizes about sleeping with men. This is Barack Obama's diary or whatever his
daily,
memoir.
by the way. He said, I fantasize about sleeping with men daily.
Daily. I think.
What's wrong with that?
I think this has been not a problem. He's been, my opinion, he's been a homosexual for this whole time, and this whole marriage thing is just a thing for the public eye. That's it. Period.
Okay. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Vinny, you're my friend.
Yeah.
You know, on camera we have issues. Off camera,
I don't have issues with you ever.
no. I respect the hell out of PBD. That's my guy. That's my mentor. It's my friend. It's my boss.
Yeah.
I think you guys are dead wrong.
Really?
In my opinion,
Okay.
I think this is all speculation. You know, I know you were a Jada guy back in the day, in the 90s. The movie she was Set It Off, and she was also in
Jason's Lyric.
Jason's Lyrics. But somehow, crazy ass Jada and Will are still together.
That's not the story.
After the entanglement.
Buddy, that's not the story, though.
So
That's not the story.
Can I
but
finish?
Jada and
Okay.
Will, if you saw the story that was going the other day, about the fact that they took a picture after Will was getting a little too friendly with another girl that was on a dancing. I don't know if you followed that story or not.
Latin dancing.
They've had an open relationship.
Oh,
So
for
if you're
sure.
saying like you can, a lot of people stay married, but they have an open relationship, and it's like do whatever you want, just don't publicly embarrass.
Exactly.
So that's not really being married, though. That's
Well,
contractually
According
being
to
married.
Tate, that's perfectly fine. Whatever floats your boat.
Contractually, they're married.
Sure.
I don't know if you would qualify
There's
as a happily married couple.
If I were him, it's cheaper to keep her. Who knows what he's going to do? There's also a story. Allegedly, he walked in the house and she was there with Mark Anthony, and the two of them weren't looking so good right after he walked in, Will Smith. But regarding Obama's, I don't think they're getting divorced. I mean, why would he let his wife do this? This is going to be a little hot take here, contrary to public opinion. I actually think she's a woman. She's a big ass woman.
That's fine.
I don't think she's a man. There's a lot of speculation with that. I think what they've realized is this. We really messed up not doing our podcast and continuing our podcast 3-4 years ago. They were doing it. They saw that Kamala's dumbass didn't go on Rogan. She spent all sorts of money. Somehow they raised $1 billion and they're in debt. And they realized this is the new landscape of media. We got to get this thing going. Now, I don't think it's going to last. I think they're going to stop because it's hard. We've been doing this 5 years. By the way, happy 5th anniversary of COVID, guys. It was right around this time 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right around the time when we were starting the podcast. But the difference, in my opinion, between them and Gavin Newsom is in his prime, man in the arena. He's fighting the fight. He's going to have people he completely disagrees with. Charlie Kirk, Steve Bannon. She's going to have her brother on and they're going to do a little banter. She's past her prime. They say it's better to be a has-been than a never was. She's a has-been. And I think this thing's not going to
But
work.
just off of a vibe, and I'm sorry, Tom. Just off of a vibe, Adam. When you see them taking photos at dinner, and he's like in the living room, and she's in the freaking dining room, they're trying to hold. Like, don't you feel like just intuition? I know the facts and all that stuff. Do you feel like these two are actually a together, happily married couple, or sometimes because this is politics? Even if he is what the rumors of Larry Sinclair and all these are, you have to be a married guy to take office. So is there any way that this type of relationship, because it's falling apart, because from the beginning, from the offset, it was all bullshit. It was all for show. All for show.
Well, they had 2 kids for show. They ran for president for show.
Are you 100%? I've never seen one pregnant photo of her ever. No, hold on.
Okay,
I know what you're going to say.
Good.
Show me one. Show me a photo of her pregnant.
Number one,
There
facts
isn't
don't
one.
care. Do you know how many married couples that have been married for 50 years that hate each other? I was with my cousin's grandparents the other day. The grandfather and the grandmother are fighting the entire time. I'm like, what's up with these two? He's like, I hate that bitch. I'm like, why are you still married? He's like, I just can't. Just cheaper to keep her. So don't act like marriage isn't easy. You say this all the time. Don't act like people don't stay married for decades if they're not in love anymore or having sex anymore or even get along anymore.
Well, you know what it is, though? This podcast, do you think Barack or even presidents that go away after, like, look at Bush. After he was done, he what? He just went away, became an artist. Why? It's just like, you know what? No, really, it's like, just go away.
Yes.
And anything new you do, you're bringing back up what? Old stories,
Yep.
right? And each of them, their stories are what? Bush's story is what? Weapons of mass destruction.
Yep.
9/11, right? And remember that one time he had a spoof on stage? He's like, well, do you know which one I'm talking about? Where he's like, yeah, it could have been, do you know?
Yeah, the with the weapons of mass destruction.
Rob, do you know which one I'm talking about or
He did
not?
a slip.
Yeah. So anyways, for him, it's that, right? If you go to...
You're saying his legacy.
Everybody has something that they do. Do you think her doing this, you think Barack is happy she's doing this?
I don't. Absolutely.
You think he's happy that these stories are coming out?
Hell no, because this is just 1 or 2 podcasts. She's just scratching the surface, talking about when he comes in. I'm just like, leave. I'm with the girls. Like she's talking like it's a soap opera about a freaking.
Who do you
president.
think wears the pants in the Obama relationship?
Oh, she wears all of the pants.
You think she wears the pants?
Oh yes.
Look, let's just look
And
at
they're
some.
full of
Let's
stuff.
Yeah.
let's go on the next story, but let's look at.
He was
some-
the president of the United States.
She's wearing the
If
pants.
he can't wear the pants in his own household.
She's wearing the pants.
Look, let's
Keep it
just look at
moving,
a
buddy.
few core facts and get on to the next story. They left the White House in January of 2017. That is coming up on 8.5 years ago. Her book, Becoming, was intentionally released right at the midterm in 2018 when the Dems were trying to kick up all the foam about Russia and everything. November 13, 2018, they released Becoming when there was still relevance for the Obamas and the midterm elections were there. Since that time, there has been nothing but a slide into history by Barack Obama and a certain gentleman at this table that was asked to speak in several places in the past 6 months. He said November 5th was possibly the worst day of Barack Obama's political life, realizing that he absolutely had nothing left in the tank, unable to push a candidate over. Pat said that, and he backed it up with all the facts that were there. So I think what we're seeing with Michelle is she's got no juice to pull an audience here. Is she going to do this for some other announcement? Who knows? We'll find out soon enough. But right now, he had no juice in the election. She has no juice to pull an audience. We're coming up on 9 years since they were at their point of relevance.
It is scary, man. It is scary to think about. By the way,
it scares you to think about that you're sliding into history.
I'm going to play this clip, Rob, and then we're going to go to the next story. That's a similar story to this. Rob, can you play the clip of Scott Jennings on Michelle Obama on CNN? Mm-hmm. Folks, just watch what Scott Jennings does when he talks about Michelle Obama here. Scott Jennings is the current CEO of CNN. He's keeping a business together. Yes, they may as well give him that title. Go ahead and play the clip, Rob, if you could.
Another lifestyle podcast.
She can't stay out of it. She can't just
stay out of it.
She's making money and having fun.
We all are sort of all, it's like programmed to talk about how great she is and how smart she is. I mean, she campaigned a lot for Kamala Harris. She was a key speaker of the Democratic National Convention. Barack Obama was a key strategist for this whole thing that happened last year. And yet somehow Donald Trump still won. So I'm rethinking the premise of that she's the answer to the future, or that any politician is the answer to Democratic Party.
She's not a politician.
She's so good that Melania Trump stole her speech.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry,
Gotcha
what?
moment.
She's so good that Melania Trump plagiarized her speech, or do you not remember?
And you like
at the Republican convention.
Scott, you like Michelle Obama?
Yeah, I think she's fine, but just after the I thought she gave a wonderful speech as far as convention speeches go. I'm just looking at what happened last fall. The Obamas helped engineer Biden's ouster. They put in Harris. They ran the campaign. She campaigned for him, and it was a total failure.
Well,
I'm just wondering how good they really are.
There's nothing he said that was false.
No.
And they just don't want to believe it.
No, of course they don't want to believe it. If you drink a lot of coffee, if you drink Arnold Palmer, if you drink hot tea, guess what's officially in? By the way, on the site, Tom may be one of the biggest Yeti fans in the world. So finally, we've been working on this for about 9 months. The Yeti Valuetainment, what do you call these things? Collection is here.
Sick.
Future looks bright. Valuetainment logo on the side. White one, black one. Let me see the white one here. That's pretty sick.
I think that one's a big one.
The white one here with Valuetainment, future looks bright. Just so you know, this is a very limited supply we're doing. This is not 1,000 of these. We got 100 of them. You want them? Go place the order. We may or may not do many more of these, but you will be one of the first ever to have Valuetainment Yeti, especially for those that are using these a lot. Now you can put it at your office while your staff, your team, your family is coming to you. In the front of it says future looks bright. And on the back of it, Valuetainment logo. So go place your order, whether it's the white one, the red one, or the black one. Go to vtmerch.com. Place your order for the Yetis before these sell out. They are the best of the best in what they do. And now you can have the best of the best with Future Looks Bright on it. We have a goal of having 1 million people sporting the Future Looks Bright gear around the world. Right now, we're on the 150,000 number. We got 850 more to go. We want 1 million people around the world saying Future Looks Bright. I love hearing stories when people say, I was just in Cabo. I'm poolside and I see these 3 kids showing up. They all got the Future Looks Bright hat. I'm like, how'd you get this? Well, we watched the podcast. It's a great thing when that happens. Go place your order at vtmerch.com. Limited supplies. We'll see if you like it. Maybe we'll bring different ones in the future. Like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.